I just noticed this Mon Calamari kind of looks like he might know the guy who tortured Dr. Pershing, the mind-flaying doctor. Gobble gobble, it's a trap. Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another video. So this comes from Production Weekly. Now if you remember a couple of days ago, it was theorized that because of the Writers Guild strikes, the Mandalorian Season 4 was going to be pushed back. We know Jon Favreau's already written it, but the writing process never ends, and we kind of had a hunch in some way, shape or form, Season 4 was going to be pushed back. Well now, we have confirmation that seems to be the case, because according to ProductionWeekly.com, Mando Season 4's production's been pushed 2 months, from September to November of this year. Now here's the thing, both Bespin Bulletin and Making Star Wars say, the situation is worse than we think. 2 months is an arbitrary guess, nothing official. And they say according to their sources, until a deal is reached, this is going to go on for a long time. And they're not too optimistic, Season 4 might be a long way off. In other words, this is worse than we realise. They also mentioned the DGA, the Directors Guild of America, just declared solidarity with the WGA, which could mean the November date is a wish at best. This strike could go on for a lot longer, so let's cling on to the Ahsoka show and Skeleton Crew, because those might be our only Mandoverse installments for a very long time. But it does tell you for shows that had all the preparation in the world, that were prepared for this scenario like Mando was, it can still get affected, and it is. The WGA strike has now been going for 30 days, they haven't been negotiating whatsoever, but it's being reported that studios are looking to get a deal this month. Hopefully it's a fair one. Now another really interesting thing about this production schedule is that the mysterious Ghost Track 17, the codename of an unknown Star Wars show, has seemingly fallen off the face of the earth. It's not mentioned anywhere here, whereas in the past, Production Weekly listed it. So what does this push mean for The Mandalorian Season 4? Well, while they were targeting a 2024 release date, it's probably going to be early 2025, the same year as the Rey film. I think that's the ballpark they're aiming for at this stage. I've been rereading Heir to the Empire for a very special reason. I'm working on a project I'm going to unveil very soon, and it's gotten me so hyped for how Mando and these shows are going to craft a canon New Republic on screen compared to the Zahn template in Legends. And sure, there are some canon sources which do explore Mon Mothma's government, the loser that is Massa Mida, how the Imperial Remnant rises, the role of Luke and Leia, but just like they do with a lot of Star Wars books, even if they're canon, they're not going to use them entirely. So I'm very curious to see what they do with this on screen, expanding the New Republic to include Rebels characters, and a total reinvention and outcome for how this government falls, and what happens to Thrawn in canon, what's going to happen by the time of The Force Awakens, where is he, where are all of these characters, are they all dead, are they elsewhere in the galaxy? That's what I'm so curious about. In other news from the galaxy far, far away, Ahsoka star Ivana Sakno has spilled the beans on her character, Shin Hati, an ambitious Force wielder. Now it's kind of bittersweet to hear her talk about her role because Ray Stevenson, her on-screen counterpart, passed away. Both Baylan and Shin work for Thrawn, but here's what EW.com say. There is no shortage of villains to be found in the upcoming Star Wars series Ahsoka, whether it's the legendary Grand Admiral Thrawn, Magistrate Morgan Elsbeth, or the malicious Baylan. There are plenty of baddies to go around. But perhaps the most intriguing member of this crew is the one who completes the fearsome foursome of foes that will be taking on former Jedi Ahsoka Tano and company. Not much is known about the enigmatic Shin Hati, but she cuts a very imposing dark side figure in the Ahsoka trailer, slicing and dicing with a lightsaber while also piloting a starfighter in clear attack mode. But who is this intense adversary? The woman who plays Shin, Ivana Sakno, offered a few clues as to what we're going to see from her character. Here's the quote: Shin is quite an intense and ambitious Force wielder. She's very skilled in lightsaber combat. She's a new character, so I don't want to give away too much of who Shin is, as I would love the audience to be able to discover her. Now I kind of feel as though she's an Order 66 survivor along with Baylan. The two took a different path. Is it one of the Sith? I'm going to say no. Is it one of a Jedi? Again, no, but something in between. I don't want to use the term Grey Jedi. I don't think that's something Dave Filoni is going to introduce into canon, but definitely Dark Jedi, exploring a weird kind of balance in the Force that does lean towards the dark side, kind of like a Jedi with a bit more freedom. And Sakno suggests there is more to Shin than just fear, anger and hate. She wants us to know she's not engulfed by the dark side, at least not entirely just yet. And she does say something really cool. Check this out. She says, "I hope despite a darkness of character, the aim of the character is to expand our understanding of what that darkness means, the reasons Force users could be drawn to it." So it kind of ties into stuff Darth Plagueis talked about, some Force themes from earlier in the timeline in The Acolyte, and Ivana says she cares a lot about her character. She's grown attached to that role. She also mentions fun on set with Baylan actor Ray Stevenson before he died, the dynamic they had, and also the intense physical training, the preparation that went into the role, physical, mental. She says the way you connect your heart, body and mind, and you really begin to understand Star Wars better, she says, especially the Force, your own life through the flow of energy. Some really awesome stuff, guys. Share your thoughts on this in the comments down below. And so finally, something on the more controversial side of things. This comes from the Direct and their citing Deadline. Star Wars producer Tony Gilroy calls out toxic fandom attacking Kathleen Kennedy. So here's the context. When talking with Deadline, Tony Gilroy addresses the work he's done on Star Wars, Rogue One, Andor, and then he gets to the subject of Star Wars fans, the online space, and how certain fans have talked about Kathleen Kennedy. Now I know she's not very popular, some fans think she's not a good president for Lucasfilm, but Tony was shocked with just how bad the discourse gets. Here's the quote: "It was shocking on Rogue One because I didn't have any exposure when Rogue happened and everything that happened," and again, he's talking about the online comments. "I was really blown back, so when I returned to do Andor, I knew what to expect." And so then he says, "You have to realize about that community, their passion, they love this thing so much, and as a result he wants Andor to be very good, he takes it very seriously." But then he talks about the minority of fans who take things too far. He says, "Now I do read what they say, there's no way doing it and not being controversial, there's no way, it's impossible. And like Kathy's job is like," and then he pauses, "you don't want to be looking up Kathy ever on the internet, it's just what she goes through and what they say, it's been on for years." He commends her for having pretty thick skin, but does say the online backlash to Star Wars things does not affect his process. He doesn't listen to it when crafting the Andor show. And you know, I've always said there's a big difference between constructive criticism, saying you don't like the state of Star Wars, you don't like the individual show's decisions made, even talking about the higher-ups, and it's fine to say you don't like the leadership. I don't think she's been the best in terms of decisions, but what Tony is saying is that in many ways she's been a scapegoat, and there's a way of conveying this without going too far. And he's also right when he says, the creative process is challenging. There is so much that goes on in terms of conversations, pre-production, and he's not the first one to acknowledge this. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, they've all said the same. Tony Gilroy finishes by saying the following: "And so we have this mix of people who know nothing about Star Wars on our show, and then we have a bunch of people on the show that are huge nerds, and it's the marriage of knowledge and history mixed with real ambition. I want to respect the audience." And he really does. Andor was fantastic, and I can't wait for season 2. But what do you think of the things he said? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is he right or wrong? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new. May the Force be with you always.